up at Treasure Lake. All of the elected officials are currently in an executive session with the solicitor. So we're just going to go ahead and hold this real quick. So this is the public hearing for the Schindel-Decker property, which is lots 31, 32, and 33 up in Treasure Lake. I'm going to turn it over to Zach Lawhead to say anything else and open it up for public comment. If there's no public comment, then we'll go ahead and close and hope to be in the regular meeting at 6.
All right, so Schindel-Decker is intending to subdivide a portion of lot 33, combine it into lots 31 and 32. Yeah, combine 31, 32, and the portion of 33. Lot 33 will meet the minimum size requirements and be separate from the rest. And Planning Commission recommended approval on September 16th. And this meeting's been advertised per our standards of the ordinance. Any comments? Questions? Wonderful.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Yeah.
So the idea would be the work session and could be 2 and 2, so you'll do this one yesterday today.
Looks
It didn't need to be that tall.
I thought since I did the work session, it would be Pat's turn, but Ben's telling me no.
Yeah, because you started it, you got to finish it.
That's what I said. I've got October, Pat will have November.
So you get the extra one at the end of March.
I get the fine. I know they're sitting in the back.
Hey, Ben, when we do the budget, I may get off the light to see that.
Yeah, because that'll be hard to see.
Yeah, unless you didn't put it on our computer, right?
Actually could.
No, I'll just get up and look.
Unless I say something, you can
Okay.
write them and change people's minds.
Hey, Jen, I have one, you can keep it.
Actually, I want to send a. I know we're at 6.
No, Marcus.
You can throw me your computer. Give me your computer for a second.
No computer for you. Mark, you're late. I don't run late with you.
Barry because his can't see the screen.
That's okay, blame me. I'm a big boy.
Okay. Thank you. Good to go. I'd like to call this evening's meeting to order. Ask everyone to rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As part of our moment of silence this evening, I'd like everybody to keep Dick Whitaker in their thoughts and prayers as he recovers from surgery in Florida. Thank you. Roll call.
Abbott.
Here.
Augenbaum.
Here.
Beers.
Here.
Dietz. Here. Gelfen.
Here.
Jackson. Here. Malika.
Here.
Whitaker. Reesinger.
Here.
Sullivan.
Here. Some announcements. Trick or treat hours are from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Reminder that Long Avenue will be closed on Halloween evening for a parade from 4:30 to 6. I believe that's it for announcements unless anybody else has something. Public comments on the agenda items. Deb Mecklin.
I'm going to pass.
Okay. Our consent agenda, we have minutes from our August 20, 2025 meeting, September 17th, 2025, work session minutes from October 6, 2025. All the fiscal reports are listed there. So I'm looking for a motion for the consent
I'll make a
agenda.
motion for the consent agenda.
Second. For the record, Mr. Whitaker just doing that.
I sure did.
Properly moved and second to approve the consent agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Department reports. IT, I don't believe Matt's here, is he? Public Works, Scott, do you have anything to add?
No, just right now, we're halfway through the hydrant flushing this week, with everything wrapping up in the city probably on Sunday, and Monday and Tuesday would finish up the outskirts and the township. It's been going very well.
Thank you, Scott. Planning and zoning, Zach? Nothing to add? Chief Kurzelli, police? Any?
No, nothing to add. We just finished up with our fall qualifications up at the.
Okay.
No comment. I was surprised at the number of male runaways. I was surprised at the number of male runaways on your report. Yeah.
Fire chiefs, anything?
Finished up fire prevention this past week. Had a great turnout for that, visiting all the schools and daycares. Kicking off Toys for Tots. All fire stations are participating in the Toys for Tots program. So we'll be collecting toys for that, and I think that wraps up early December.
Yeah, so Toys for Tots kicks off November 10th. November 15th will be the fire station in-house drop-off day. So on the 15th, between 11 a.m. and 2 p.m., anybody that wants to drop off toys at any firehouse can do that between those hours. We will make sure that somebody is at each fire station, manning that station for that to happen. And then December 2nd will be the final collection, where we'll drop them off at Q102. With that, Q102 is going to be promoting it on the radio as the joint, newly consolidated fire department, and it's not going to be Sandy Township Du Bois. It'll be the newly joined and consolidated fire department. So that's a huge step forward for us. So looking forward to the Toys for Tots, really excited about it. So if everybody could help out and participate, that would be wonderful.
Thank you, chiefs. Under correspondence, we had a request from a citizen for change in tax collection. We also had a grant award letter from DCNR. I believe Joe applied for that. Do you have an update there?
Yeah, first of all, the letter that we got from the citizen about tax collection was asking that Sandy Township taxes be collected in another municipality in another county. We were asked to put that on the agenda, and obviously did, but there is definitely no legal action that this board could possibly take to do that. So we just put it under correspondence. You can't change your elected tax collector, for one thing. Second of all, Sandy, of course, is going away. Third, you can't go to another county, let alone another municipality. So that's that. DCNR recreation grant. Pat, you and Joe Mitchell worked together on that. Did you want to say anything about it?
This is when they're paying for the study. Yeah, for the recreational study. It's either a 5 or 10 year plan. The DCED will they give us the money to do a survey of the needs of the citizens and what we have in the way of recreation.
Mark, I got a clarification on that change of tax. That's not in another county. That's just the next municipality from Sandy Township. That's Houston Township.
Houston Township.
Yes, yeah.
I thought it was.
No.
I thought they asked for Portland.
No.
Sorry, I misread.
It's Houston. Can you make sure you talk to the homeowners in that too, please?
Sure.
Next on the agenda, we have unfinished business for the joint board. Document scanning, Ben, I guess you can
Yeah.
do that as well.
If you don't mind, I'll just take the next three real quick. First of all, document scanning at the last meeting, the request of the board was to get a few more quotes. Just letting you know that we'll keep it on old business until it comes to a decision, but we had one other company walk the facilities today and 2 more committed to quoting, so we should have 2 or 3 more, hopefully at the next meeting. The municipal authority loan assumption. So as you all know, the municipal authority at Sandy Township is going to dissolve, and its debts and assets will be assumed by the new city. There's a bunch of legal steps that have to happen in order to effectuate that. We were told by our the joint board solicitor that would have to happen at this meeting, like initial steps would have to happen. They didn't get the documents done, and also said that it would be okay to kick it to the 29th. So that will be postponed until the next meeting. But we'll be looking for a resolution from Sandy Township as well as the municipal authority to assume the assets. So when those are prepared, we'll get them on an agenda. But that does play into an update related to the RACP Emergency Services Building. So at the last meeting, I believe it was the last meeting, a majority voted in favor of consolidating 3 RACP awards into one massive one that would encompass both the municipal building and police station, as well as 2 fire company stations. And simultaneously, in order to pay for the match for that funding, to increase the municipal authority bond when we went to refinance it. The good news is that we were in touch with the state, and they have approved the concept, I suppose, of consolidating those. So the only thing we're going to need at this point will be a letter from your state senator and your state representative acknowledging that and expressing their okay about it. So I don't anticipate that being an issue. And in fact, that's great news. The challenge is that when we went to get the municipal authority loan refinanced, we found that the existing bank was basically willing to just assume it, and it's tied to water and sewer payments. Therefore, the attorneys are saying that it is not possible for those 2 reasons to kind of simply, we'd have to completely float a new bond. So that is still an option, but it's not going to be an option on the timeline that we had originally anticipated. So we have the December 10th deadline for filing the PMP looming, and somehow between now and then we need to commit to funding the match. So we basically need approximately $2 million. That needs to come from somewhere. It doesn't have to be for sure, from what I understand. Like if we said, $1 million of it's going to come from a bond, and $500,000 from a CD that we'll cash in, and whatever. You can kind of come up with any combination. You don't have to strictly stick with it. But we do need to put a compelling story on paper that is based in reality. So although there'll be some wiggle room, we will need board guidance on how you want to finance this, since the initial plan fell through. With that, I guess, I know this is kind of discussion-like, but I guess I would ask the board if you had any comments. I know that several of you have done your research on what assets we already have, so I'll at this point just kind of turn it over to at least the gentleman sitting by me.
Does anyone have any thoughts?
I said, when do we need a commitment?
It doesn't have to be for sure by December 10th, but I need guidance really soon, like, I don't know, 2 weeks from tonight as to...
That's what
On the 29th?
On the 29th, I need a path, yes.
Okay.
Do you think we're rushing this? I know we're trying to rush. I think it's prudent to rush something like this just to, or, the other board members. I just don't want to go too fast and do something that maybe we don't have the money for or don't have the assets to back it. That's my only concern. I don't want to rush to do things.
We have a $900,000 grant that would expire at the end of the year, am I correct?
I think we have, 1.9 that will expire at the end of the year.
Okay.
And the 1.1 expires the beginning of 26.
The 0.9 million is the one that we need to capture now if we're going to capture it.
Okay.
And so I'm not going to weigh in on whether the idea is half-baked or, if we're rushing it or anything like that. But what I will say is that you could always commit to it and then back out. But if it goes away, you definitely can't just get it back.
So rather than make a decision this evening, we can hold off to our next meeting in 2 weeks.
Yes, but really probably no longer than that.
Mr. Chairman, may I make a comment? We don't have banking projections ready for tonight, but we will definitely have bank account projected balances ready by the 29th. So you'll know what we think we're going into the new year with, is my point.
Is there anyone opposed to holding off to our next meeting? Okay. Next on our agenda, under unfinished business, would be wastewater treatment plant agreement amendment. We're looking to extend HRG's contract for inspection through March of 2026.
Mark, I'll make that a motion, but I'd like to see it extended to the completion of the project. Because how many times we've been behind.
I'll second that.
Okay, properly moved and second that we extend their contract until the completion of the wastewater treatment plant project. Any questions on the motion?
No, it has to be inspected.
Correct.
Yeah.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Consolidated zoning mapping.
Zach, feel free to jump in. I'll kick it off, though. At the last meeting, I noted that the attorneys have determined that the clause in the joint consolidation agreement about the current zoning of the two communities continuing on in the new year is not sufficient. We do, in fact, need to merge them, consolidate them, whatever you want to say. And so that means a lot of rewriting. And that means that there will be more work on both general code as well as HRG to write those and then accordingly map those zoning districts. As a consequence, HRG has approached us about amending their zoning mapping proposal that was approved in like June or July. Zach, did you want to add anything?
Just to move it forward with this, we need the verbiage of the zoning ordinance before we do the map. We kind of put the mapping up front and it's backwards. So we got to get the wordage and then we can match the map to what best fits that district. So this will help us out with that, getting that correct verbiage in there to move forward with that.
So we are asking for a motion to approve that amendment.
I'll make the motion, we move forward with the agreement.
Second.
Properly moved and second to move forward with the amendment to letter of agreement with HRG. Any additional discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. New business for the joint board. General labor positions. We are filling 2 vacant positions in Public Works. We need a motion to do that.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Is there additional discussion on filling 2 laborer positions in the Public Works Department?
I just want to mention, Mark, that I feel that we shouldn't be adding anything right now until we get a budget for next year to see. I think we've been spending too much here. Moving forward, we only got a couple months till the new municipality takes over.
I also agree with Bill Beers.
But this isn't, we have money in the budget for this. I mean, these are replacing people that retired.
Not in Sandy Township's budget, we don't say.
They're replacing two city employees.
Yeah. And the city's already, what, 1-4 in the hole?
Any additional comments or discussion? Corby, I'm going to ask for a roll call vote on this motion.
I think it's important that we get Scott and them the help they need to do what they got to do. And I don't know that you can say it's because of these two laborers that send us further in the hole. It's minimal compared to what not getting stuff done.
Yeah, we had two equipment operators retire at a higher wage than what we're hiring general laborers at. So it's actually beneficial to the budget. Am I right, Scott?
Yes.
Yeah. And the work needs to be done.
We'll vote on the motion.
Abbott,
Yes.
Augenbaum,
Yes.
Spears,
No.
Deeks,
Yes.
Gelfand,
No.
Jackson. No. Malaga,
Yes?
Whitaker,
Yes.
Reesinger,
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes. Motion carries. New City Solicitor Services, we're putting out an RFP for general solicitor. Ben, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, this is relatively simple. The new city needs a solicitor and they need a general engineer. And so in order to be prepared for the new year, we're simply asking to be authorized to put out the request for proposals that are before you. You could take them as one motion, just looking for a motion to authorize the two RFPs. The plan would be to get the RFP responses back by the November meeting, hopefully evaluate them and have a recommendation at that meeting. If not, it could go to December, but either way, by the new year, you would have the new solicitor and/or engineering firm lined up. Lisa, did you want to add anything? Okay.
Hey, looking for a motion to put out two RFPs.
Question mark.
Yes, sir.
On the solicitor, I thought the new council had to vote him in when you reorganize.
They will definitely need to authorize that, yes.
Okay.
But you can collect the RFPs now for sure.
Okay. So nobody will take a vote until the new council gets seated, correct?
We could notify, I mean, the thing is, you'd like to have an attorney in place at least for that meeting. So I think that it probably would be advantageous for the joint board to make a selection. I suppose it wouldn't actually take effect until ratified by the new city, but I would defer to legal counsel on that opinion if you have one.
This is, you know,
Very good.
yeah, this is, you know, I think at least for today's purposes, it's just for getting the authorization for the RFP, and we can certainly look into if there'd be any further action taken before the new council would be sworn in.
We could vote to have the solicitor we have now to be at the first meeting and then vote on it at that time. Let the new council vote on it.
That's kind of what we did 2 years ago. We had an interim,
Yeah, yes.
and then the new one was approved at the first meeting.
Right.
But for today's purposes, we can just approve putting out the other.
And the other question, Mark, I had, under the engineering services, the draft RFP, it only says we have 5 square miles. That's not true. We have, what, almost 56? That might change what they show for our structure. That needs changed.
Noted.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Okay, looking for a motion for RFP only.
So move.
Second.
Yeah, for both.
Second. Or second, you second. You second. I don't care.
It doesn't matter. Woody.
So it was Barry and Pat. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
One item for the city,
Pat, I'll turn the mic over to you for
Okay. New business for the city, civil service regulations. Ben, do you want to?
Actually, Lisa.
Lisa.
Probably Chris would be better, but we've been working with the police department to put together their civil service rules. These have been vetted by our team, the police department, the labor attorney for the consolidation, and also the attorney for the FOP. So this is our agreed upon document for how the police department will do hiring in the future based on those civil service rules and regulations. If you have further questions, let's include Chris in that.
This will be for the new consolidates.
So, my question is then, why is it the whole joint board voting?
I guess y'all could.
This is for the new consolidated city, correct? So,
It's not going into effect today in the city.
There is a civil service is for the city is in effect already. This is just the new civil service.
Okay.
Because Sandy Township doesn't have that now. Right.
My understanding, could have been misunderstanding, was that this was modifying existing cities and carry into the new city. If the effective date is January 5th, then actually we could probably just defer this a second.
Properly moved and second. Any questions on that motion? There should be. Okay, vote on the motion.
Just the city?
Who's all voting?
Yeah, I guess it's the city.
Just the city.
Augenbaum,
Yes.
Dietz,
Yes.
Gelfen,
Yes.
Jackson. Yes. Reesinger.
Yes. That's it. That's it, folks.
Central City did.
New business, Sandy Township, consolidation and subdivision. Zach, I bet you were here for that meeting.
Yep. Yep, same as it was before. Schindeldecker is proposing to subdivide a small portion of lot 33, combine it to lot 32, and then combine lots 31 and 32. It meets all the requirements. We held a public hearing prior to this meeting, no comments, and the planning commission recommended approval September 16th. And everything's been advertised and in order for it, so approval.
Motion to move forward.
Our computer says. Second? Wait, Sam, hold just a second. Our computer says lot 23. Just saying that the numbers are wrong for right. The numbers are just reversed.
31,
The discussion was, on our agenda, it says lot 23, and I think the numbers are just reversed. So I don't think it makes a big difference, just.
I'll make that clarification under the 31, 32, and 33 lots.
Second.
Okay, for supervisors only, we have a proper motion and second for consolidation. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Who would like to speak to the municipal authority dissolution resolution?
Just like above, that has to be deferred to the next meeting because we didn't get the documents from the attorney.
Okay, I don't think we even need a motion to table that, do we?
So move.
I don't think we need a motion, Bill, to table, correct?
No, I don't think in this case.
Okay. Special presentations. I guess, Lisa, you're going to kick this one off?
Bear with us while we transition.
I'm going to go sit out there.
I can see that.
This is the cheese.
City funds, the general fund, all the other funds, and we don't have much of an update on capital items for tonight. That will be at a future meeting, but we should be able to get that preliminary budget projection put out there for you tonight. So first of all, I want to go over with the budget overview that timeline, as I mentioned, kind of the milestones where you're at. and then a look at your historical taxes, which is the answer to that question of why are you proposing we raise taxes, and then really hit this question of are we actually seeing any savings from this thing? So the timeline, I know this is really busy, but I showed you this timeline last time. Nothing's really changed on it, but these are the steps that we're going through to build you that budget. The box-like things are public requirements, and so we can't really move those. And then the public meetings are those black X's where we're asking for input and that sort of thing between now and then. So as you can see, where we are today is we have drafted the preliminary budget. We've selected a bank. We've built the chart of accounts, filed for EIN and such. Still don't have an EIN. Sorry to update you on that, but hopefully soon. We're midway through industrial appraisal, doing an appraisal of all the fixed assets of the two communities. And tonight, what we're planning on doing is presenting this preliminary budget. So you're kind of in step 2 now of the big picture budget milestones. Between now and the 29th, please digest this, think about your priorities. And we've got a bunch of questions for you to noodle on, which we'll give you at the very end. But the next couple of weeks are take what we've given you as the preliminary budget and noodle on it and come back with feedback. Then you'll direct us with that feedback to do things. So if, I don't know, 6 of you say we want to see no tax increase and 4 of you say raise it 10% or something, then right, the one will win and we'll go build you a budget that is within those lines. When we come back on the 19th in November, we will have a draft budget based on that feedback over the next couple of meetings. And that is the budget that you're going to vote on to actually publish. And that has to be out for 20 days. And then you'll actually adopt it in the December 17th meeting, once it's had that public review process. And then I know one citizen in particular at the last few meetings has been asking, can the new board alter that budget? The legal answer is yes. I had thought that there was a 10% requirement, like you couldn't change 10%, but because this is a completely new municipality, you can basically gut it, redirect them, like you can direct us to go back and start again, but the new board will have the chance to completely alter it. That said, it has to be done by February 15th, and it has to have that public review process. And so that means that essentially all of that work would have to be done in like 2, maybe 3 weeks in January. So there will not be a lot of time to do that. But the answer is yes, the new board will be able to completely reopen the 2026 budget once they take office.
Can I say something before we move this slide? I want to let the board know that Joe Mitchell has helped with this budget, and we've built a very robust set of spreadsheets that cross over all the funds, take into consideration allocations of wages and all the health care and that type of thing. And I invite you to view that with me one-on-one. I can explain it to you. We can look at the line items and get a little deeper than we can in this meeting. And so please do that.
Okay, so the question of, hey, I thought consolidation was supposed to save us money, or excuse me, lower taxes, why are the taxes raising? The answer is that it not only is going to save you money, but it already has. And I'm going to prove that with some graphs in just a second. But in short, for one, you ended up getting a bunch of grants to cover a lot of the consolidation. Not all, and don't misunderstand me, the consolidation process has been extremely expensive. There's been a lot of legal fees, particularly. I don't even know how many tens of thousands at this point that were not covered by stamp and such. But you have seen some grants that have offset. Here's where the real money is. You've consolidated and not filled a bunch of positions. Second of all, you've eliminated some redundancy and will continue to see savings when you consider that we're not going to need as much equipment, particularly in public works and the fire departments. Services have also consolidated, and you're not going to need as many trained and licensed people either. One example of that is, exactly what we had tonight with the general laborers. You don't need a CDL to be doing all this, so now we can kind of drop a couple positions down to a lesser. And then there's also existing shared services that are getting consolidated, such as email systems, IT systems, and so forth, and then combined fleet as well. The big thing that has cost you a lot of money that it really comes down to the new city hall. And again, half of that's covered by the state. All right, here's the fun stuff for the econometrician and me. What this graph shows you is your millage rate between the two communities. The green line indicates the total combined weighted mills. I weighted them because the township has twice the total assessed value of the city. So conveniently, it's easy math, but I still weighted them. And as you can see, there was an increase in 2019. I believe that was in Sandy Township's fire tax. Correct, Sandy Township? Yeah. In terms of operational general fund dollars, neither community has really increased their taxes since 2009, which is why this is flat. If you take the 2008 millage rate, and honestly, I took 2008 because it's more damaging to my own theory. If you took 2009, it would be even more extreme. But in 2008, if you took the 2008 tax millage and extrapolated that or increased it by inflation, you would see that it would have increased to now, it would be here. The inflation rate is down here, just so you know which numbers I'm dealing with, because there's multiple CPIs and inflation rates and that kind of thing. So that's the one I chose, the pretty standard one. And what you see here, I'm going to blow up, is that your mills have been completely flat. You have not raised taxes, and as a consequence, the difference between the buying power that you had in 2009 dollars and the buying power that you have today is this gap. Now that gap in a graph may not seem all that big, but actually it equates to approximately $5.2 million in lost revenue because you have not raised your taxes. Now, to make that really stupid simple, you are buying goods and services in 2025 using 2009 dollars. Put it in this perspective. An 18-pack of beer of Bud Light in 2009 was $10. Now it's $15. You still only have $10, so you can only buy a 12-pack, not an 18-pack. Now, you might say, hang on, Ben. There are plenty of other communities, like, I don't know, any community in Lancaster County or down in the southeast Pennsylvania, they haven't raised their taxes in that amount of time. And you're right. The reason is because their total assessed value has been increasing. There's new buildings, there's new houses, there's development, etc. And so they don't have to raise their millage rate. So, you're right, we can't purely take the millage rate and extrapolate that over time. We also have to look at a second factor, and that second factor is the literal dollars that were brought in. So, I went to your annual financial reports that have filed with the state for the last, actually more than a decade, and added them together and mapped them. And here you go. So, the green line here is the amount of total property tax that has been brought in from the two communities combined. And there's been a couple little blips here and there, mainly when CARES Act and ARPA money came out. And everyone paid, when the stimulus money came out during COVID, and everybody paid their property taxes. So you had near 100% return on those. Most other years, you're seeing something more like 92 to 94% of people paying their property taxes. In those couple years, you saw pretty near 100. So that's why you saw that little jump. But overall, what do you see here? An extremely flat line. And what that indicates is that your total assessed value is not increasing. And in fact, recently, it's been decreasing. And in fact, these are real numbers the assessment office just this week gave us the total assessed values of Sandy Township and the city of Du Bois. It went down, kind of as expected, but it went down. And so as a consequence, the same millage that's there today is not going to bring you in the same amount of money next year. Now you only have an 11-pack of beer. So that red line is the buying power of the $2009, and you can see there's that gap that we saw in the millage rate. And the yellow, I don't want to say it's irrelevant, but understand that what that is the national gross domestic product. And that's increasing at a much higher rate, well, a marginally higher rate than inflation. I throw that in for a comparison because, again, compared to the buying power that the Du Bois and Sandy communities are generating in tax revenue, compare that to the national average, you're still, I don't know, maybe you're able to buy eight beers. Okay, so I'll zoom in on this. As I mentioned, that gap right now is like $1.1 million. And if you take the white area between the inflation rate and the green line, it comes out to about $5.2 million since 2009. That includes the times where it was slightly higher or something. So understand that the millage has not increased. Your revenue has actually decreased. And so we look to consolidation and say, it was supposed to save money. Well, there's only one way that it has already been successful. The only way that you could be in this position is you've either been pulling from all of your savings or you've been saving money. You've been spending less money to get the same value. So again, you are chasing $2,009 in 2025. Any questions on that? Well, let me finish, I guess, by saying that the board is in this position where you have to either cut services or you have to realign your taxes. Now, note, I didn't say raise your taxes, although your millage rate would need to increase, because my argument is you have actually been decreasing your taxes over the years. You're getting less tax dollars. People have been paying less proportionally to the services that they have been getting. So you are in the position now, or at least the new board will be, in the position of either cutting services or raising the millage. And I would suggest that there is no fat to cut. I really am impressed with the work that Lisa and team have done on this budget. But if you don't take decisive action, I think you're just kicking the can down the road further. And we're at the point now where you're up against the wall and you really can't do that. So this is the position you're in. We're either going to need to cut services or we're going to need to realign taxes. With that, I will turn it over to Lisa to describe a quick overview again of how the money is going to flow through the funds and accounts in the new year, and then give you some more specifics on those differences between current and future budget and the combination of the two when it comes to general fund and utility funds and that sort of thing.
So I just wanted to remind you that we worked on banking, and one of the ways that we're going to streamline the banking process is when we pay our bills, we're going to pay them out of a disbursement account. And the reason that we're going to do that is so that every fund has their fair share in that cost allocation I mentioned earlier of wages, benefit, pension, utilities, the ways that we spread those, the things that we have to pay for across the funds. So we're going to pay them out of the disbursement account. We'll never wonder how many outstanding checks we have or, that type of thing. And then with any surplus funds, we're going to move those into a sinking fund or a capital reserve fund. And so one of the questions we're going to talk about tonight is what that number means to you. Any questions on that? I chose the utility funds to start with because I believe it's more cut and dry, a little bit easier to discuss, and it's for one project or one specific area, water, sewer, garbage. And so I feel like we'll have less questions. We can get that out of the way, and then we'll go into the general fund, which will be a little bit more complex. So we're going to start with the water fund. In order to project revenue of $5,700,000, we believe, based on the information that we've gathered from department heads and past data, that we need to propose a $16 per 1,000 gallon rate, along with a surcharge of $15 a month, which would be a minimum bill. If you went to Florida for 3 months, you would get a bill for $15. Currently, the city is at $10.50 and Sandy is at $16. Each community, the city has $10 surcharge and Sandy has $16 surcharge. What that money is going to pay for, that $5.7 million, it's going to pay almost $2 million in debt service. It's going to pay 2.8, almost 2.9 in operating expenses, and we did set aside almost $500,000 in capital outlay. If we follow those numbers, then we believe that we can do a set aside of $454,000 into a capital program for some really looming capital needs in the water fund. You've heard from us on a couple meetings where the dam needs some work, the Anderson Creek Dam, the reservoir, and some other small project. We'd like to do a meter replacement project over time that's very costly. So that money we will need to make sure we're doing some set aside so that we can plan for those projects. Sam asked me the other day if I would do some comparisons to other communities, and so when I went out to the universe to see what was going on in other communities in Pennsylvania that were around our same population as a consolidated city, you can see that what some of those other municipalities are charging at. And I also threw Pennsylvania American Water in there because I do want you to know that in the future, if you ever decide to sell your utilities, what that impact will be. Do we have any questions on water? It's a lot to digest. I'm happy to send you the slides after. And again, go through our spreadsheets with you. Okay. This is just a graph taking into consideration what that 5.7 is going to pay for. I wanted to show you it in graph form. The capital isn't on there, but this is operational costs that we have. Capital, sometimes we put those things off, even though we shouldn't, because we want to be good stewards of what we're have to take care of. But sometimes we do kick those cans down the road. These are costs that we have to make sure that we're ready to take care of. Oops. In the sewer fund, we projected a revenue of $7 million. And the way we got there was by a $22 per 1,000 gallon. Now, mind you, Du Bois does have a tiered system, and with that tier system would keep in play, but it doesn't move to the next tier until 400,000 gallons. And most residential properties would never see that, so that's going to be more on the business side. Do you see it? So we're to get to that $7 million, that's a $22 per 1,000 gallon rate with a surcharge of $20 per month. Again, that's that minimum bill. Currently, the city's at 19. Reminder that that's a PennVest mandated rate because of the sewer plant project. Sandy's currently at $18.50. The city has a surcharge of $5, and Sandy has a surcharge of $12.50. What that $7 million is going to pay for is $3.5 million in debt service, primarily for the sewer plant project. $3 million in operating, and then a very small amount to capital to only give us a contingency. I'm not even calling it surplus because one sewer main break can consume that $116,000 surplus. I also did some comparisons for some other communities, and also Aqua and PA Water for their sewer rates. So again, you can see what the impact of that is in other communities. Questions on sewer? Here's your chart, just to let you know what those operational costs are, where the money's gonna go for debt, personnel, and the operating. I want to take a note on utilities. In the past, the city has done a collection for garbage, and it's come into the water fund and it's gotten moved to the general fund. And we're no longer going to do that. We're going to let it run through its own fund, and then we will move the admin fees to the general fund as a revenue line item. It'll just be a little bit cleaner and have its own reporting, which will be nice. In the past, there's been some rent transfers to the general fund from water and sewer. Those won't be able to happen any longer unless you wanted to raise your rates a lot more. But it's not a good idea to have that practice, because now we're going to allocate everything across the funds that they belong in. So we're going to do away with those rent payments, and in fact, sewer wouldn't, or water wouldn't be able to do that anyways. They don't have the funds for that. We're going to pool the cash. All the utilities will be in one bank account, but our system allows for us to account in the general ledger for water, sewer, and garbage separately. But the pooled cash strategy gives us an opportunity to earn a little bit more interest, maybe make funds available from one fund when maybe they're short in another fund for one reason or another. And the other thing that I think is really important is that cost allocation and making sure that we're paying for things from the fund that actually incurred the cost. And so we've laid out a really good cost allocation strategy. We're working on putting it into policy so anyone who looks at it can understand what the methodology is. And then, of course, I already talked to you about banking. The outstanding questions that we have to finish this portion of the budget up are, we're still in some union negotiations. We're getting a lot closer on that, so I'm pretty confident in our numbers. But we are still working with our healthcare vendor. We have another call with them tomorrow to get some healthcare decisions. And then we do not have solid numbers on consolidated workers' comp, life insurance, property casualty liability. Every day we're working with our vendors to get these numbers, but I can't stand here and tell you I have a concrete number for that. And then we also need your board decisions on rates and surcharges in order to continue that ball rolling. Any questions on utility funds? Okay.
Lisa,
Yes.
we haven't taken any money out of the sewer or water program this year, correct?
We have not done that. That is a goal of ours, to not have that happen.
Phil, that's one reason, and that's one reason Hughes is overshot. We haven't taken that money, and I don't think we should.
It's a good job.
Yeah, that's very fiscal.
Finally being a good steward.
Any other questions about the utilities?
Lisa, I got one on my garbage net.
Yeah.
When are you gonna sit down and do an RFP for garbage services?
I didn't realize we had to do that, and so I haven't done that. I haven't written it yet, but I still have RFPs for that, and auditing, and some actuarial services. So there's gonna be RFPs that come out on 10/29 for us to also advertise in November and get those back as
What
well.
about the cable too? Do they still do that? Yeah.
It's not much, that's 60,000?
Yeah, that's a pretty shot.
Cable?
Okay. They're the only ones available.
Yeah. Probably in negotiation.
There are several things being negotiated. I'm not in on all of them, so yeah, okay. Any other comments, questions about that?
I just want to say again, it was probably like $2 million out of each fund that the city used to put into the general fund. And that has not been done.
Yeah.
That money's where it should be, so if we have a problem with either one of those, we have to handle it.
Well, also the sewer fund, that was the one that had the more robust bank account balances in the past. $3.2 million is a big hit to those bank account balances and payments in debt service, so. Okay, I just want to talk to you for a few minutes about the general fund. I know I've touched on this a couple meetings in the past, but I want to just remind you all that as we go into this, there's going to be a lot of decisions that need to be made, and also some creativity we might have to think about and how we do business in the city. And the general fund is, in my mind, it's a community's labor of love. It's how we take care of people and we make sure that they're safe, and we care for them in ways that we offer them policing services and fire services, and we give them good parks to go out and explore and be in the outdoors. We take care of the roads. We had a sinkhole issue this week, and it wasn't a sinkhole, it was just a hole. We filled it, but those are things that we do because we don't want you to, tear up your car when you're going down that road. And how we care for those things is with people. So you're going to see how our wages play out and how we care for them with benefits and those types of things. So I want to remind you that the general fund is encompassing of all the things that we do to create community. And how we do that and pay for it is with tax dollars. And of course, there's some fund fees, and maybe the state has some fund grant programming, but right now we don't want to depend on those things as much. We want to make sure that we are taking care of, again, the things that we have in our service to take care of. So with that, we're going to talk about the general fund and the tax dollars. And again, this is funded with tax revenue. And we are estimating property tax to be $4 million, the earned income tax and LST to be 3.6. We have about $1 million in fees, permits, interest, royalties. We're estimating some donations, some sales. We have $1 million that we've estimated coming from the state in various ways, and then $0.6 million in policing from fines and some of their grant funding that they have opportunities for. What we're going to pay for with that is there's a little bit of debt service. I'm still working on that number. And then we have $10 million in operating expenses. So right now, we're looking at a deficit about $950,000, but we do believe that we can find other ways to take care of that. And these are some of the questions that we have for you, is how can we do that? We can work on a stormwater program. We can work on street lighting and how we pay for that. Right now, we pay for some of it with liquid fuels and some of it out of the general fund. And hydrants. These are all things that the general fund takes care of. All those lights that you have when you go down the road, those are paid for by the city. And then fire fees. And Ben, do you want to talk about the taxes here a little bit?
At the September meeting, I went into more depth as to the breakdown. In short, the city cannot charge fire tax or a lot of other taxes that other types of municipalities can. In exchange for that, the total capped out millage rate is like 30 or something for a city. And you're obviously not a third, but not too far off from a third from that cap. So the proposal that we've initially drafted here would raise Sandy Township's, the current Sandy, up to be equal with the city, because we cannot have a blended rate. I've been very surprised with the number of questions from citizens who are saying, well, can't you phase in Sandy Townships or something? That would have had to have been done in previous years by Sandy Township. Once you're the city, and it has to be uniform. We cannot create special districts or anything like that. Except insofar as you can have districts related to streetlight and hydrants, because they're actually getting a visible service that is separate from kind of general fund dollars. So it would be kind of weird to be charging somebody that lives out in the sticks for streetlights and hydrants if they don't have it, right? But that person should be paying, for instance, a fire fee. And so quick update on generally speaking, at least it's my recommendation, that when we have things that we can kind of divvy off and make its own independent enterprise, we should. So you already have water, you already have sewer. Another idea here would be take that recreation tax dollars and actually fund the defunct recreation authority. Start that emergency services authority that I've talked about previously. Have those raising their own fees and their own rates and such, so that that burden is coming off the general taxpayer. So anyway, the model currently would look something like 7 3/4 in general government millage, 0.4 for library, which is no change. That would be the same, I guess it's like $1,000 more than what they currently get. 0.4 for the bond payment on, I think it's most of the new building and such, and then 0.3 for the recreation. And that just makes those folks whole. So it's really not, and by the way, I did want to address that those Sandy Township folks that think their taxes are going up 30%, I hope I've clarified this, that's just the township tax, which is like 10% of the tax. So really, in reality, your tax would be going up, your total property tax would be going up like 3 or 3.2% or something, not your overall taxes going up 30%. So generally speaking, you're talking like $30 or something, not hundreds on most properties, right? The average home would not be a very significant increase. And again, there's no workaround. It has to be uniform. So if Sandy Township current elected officials don't want their citizens' taxes to go up, meaning they don't want their millage rate to increase, then that necessarily means that the existing city property taxes will go down to match whatever it's set at, right? Lisa, one more thing that this assumes. That assumes a 94.5% return rate on the property taxes. That is a weighted blending of the two communities. The city of Du Bois, I think, normally has about 92%, and Sandy Township normally has like 96%. They have far more weight because they've got like $240 million in assessed value, so I weighted it more that way, but somewhat conservatively. And as you can see, that still does not balance anything. You still have no capital outlay. You still are about $1 million in the hole. And how that has happened in the past is because historically the city has balanced their budget by that rent payment from water and sewer, which again we're saying should not happen, cannot happen in the new year. And it's even more important to not do that in the new year because at least in the old city, everybody was a water and sewer customer. That is not the case in the new city, right? So it would be completely unfair to be putting that burden on those communities that are not even getting that service. So if you took the historical water and sewer transfer payments, that would be in the ballpark of 3.5 mils, which, by the way, if you did that, would balance the budget with an excess of like $30,000 or something close to that. So anyway, this is really this is the crux of the problem, right? Haven't raised taxes historically, and so now it feels like there is a tax increase happening to pay for the same services, which is why you're in the position of deciding, am I going to cut services, am I going to lay people off, or am I going to bite the bullet and bring taxes up to where they would be if I'd kept up with inflation? Back to you.
So I just wanted to show you in a graph form where we believe those revenues are going to come from. So 39, 40% are coming from taxes at that rate Ben just explained. 35% are from EIT, and LST, yeah. And then some other funding sources, smaller ones. Where the money goes, so the police department is the only department that can't be spread out among other funds. They are only general fund service, and so therefore all of their wages and benefits, all their operation costs stay in the general fund, don't get spread out anywhere else. Like The Public Works Department, they get spread out among the funds based on the work that they do in water, sewer, and then on the roads. So the Police Department, they are gonna be the highest cost in a community. But you can see what the blue line or the darker line is the personnel cost, the green is non-personnel. So some of the questions that we're still waiting on for the general fund are those negotiated wages and health benefits for the union groups. We are still looking for some more accurate numbers in debt information and internet and IT. We are looking at some cost containment strategies. I just talked to the team about maybe only doing mandated trainings and any training that can be done virtually, saving on some of those conference costs. And then we're still looking at workers' comp. We're still negotiating on all the insurances with our vendors, and that's a big deal. So, and then we need to hear from you on what you want this to look like, because the next steps are what you decide you want us to do. We're gonna go leave here and do the work, and so we will have to, we need to know what your ideas are. I just want to briefly touch on the other funds real quick. Well, first of all, I'm sure there's a million questions on the general fund. We should stop there. Anybody? Thoughts, comments, creativity, tools you've seen in other communities? Any thoughts?
Lisa, do you feel that you'll have more hard numbers for the 29th meeting?
I know we'll have help. Did everyone hear the question? Will we have more solid numbers the 29th? We will definitely have health insurance numbers because we are already past our decision time for open enrollment, and so we have to get those pinned down. I already feel like where we're landing on wages, and so we are using those numbers. Of course, there could be surprises, but I feel like I have the lay of the land on that. And so the answer is, that's the long answer for a yes.
I do have a question for Ben, actually. Where historically, we weren't raising taxes, would you say historically then you would have a community make cuts along the way?
In this case, yes, you were probably making some cuts, but again, taking from the water and sewer funds to balance things.
There's some borrowing of money also.
Yeah, there could have been some borrowing.
So we hadn't really made any significant cuts to 2009, because really, for the most part, we were static.
Right, so I'm saying that your revenues were static while your expenses were increasing. Yes.
Correct. So if we had made any cuts, which we obviously hadn't made any, it kind of looks like. So now if we were to make any cuts, that could at least get us through the first year without raising significant tax, without some sort of cut, where most businesses through 10, 15 years have made some sort of cuts, knowing what inflation has gone up.
I mean, hopefully businesses were finding strategies to grow.
Hopefully.
So I'm
But
not
we
sure
had
that's-
seen our revenues weren't, correct?
Yeah, because you didn't raise taxes commensurate with inflation.
Or other ways to grow.
Yes, or encourage other growth, exactly.
Okay.
The other alternative would be if businesses were thriving and communities were being built and all, then it would have kept up and you would have been
Yes.
able to roughly maintain the same level of service.
Yes, as you, like Lancaster, they are
Yes.
having such major development, as
Right.
in down south, that's what's propping up their tax base.
Correct.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
That's actually a really good comment in the utility funds as well, because we have lost a couple significant users of those utilities. So we do have to make up for that.
In the city and township tax structure, would they have any movement that they could raise the taxes in the past 3 years when inflation really bit us hard? You know, what, your rate of, if you want to increase your taxes, would you have enough room in your maximum?
Oh, yeah. There's
Yeah.
plenty, yeah.
There's plenty.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, neither community was close to maxing out on their millage.
Thank you.
Any more general fund questions right now? Okay. I'm just going to briefly touch on the other funds. We use liquid fuels funding for how we take care of streets. We buy our winter maintenance materials out of there. The city does some street lighting, and Sandy Township has purchased some equipment. That number that liquid fuels is going to be coming in is around $750,000, and we are projecting some pretty big projects. So the thing I want to tell you about it is that while it lifts some burdens from the community because we get this money to take care of roads, we don't allocate any wages or anything into that fund. Some of the other, we're going to create some grant funds and then some other special funds. The Sandy Township has a Section 108 loan, that collateral fund. So as we create our banking and we account for things, this is a way that we'll be looking at how we can relieve the general fund a little bit, just so you know. I'm going to touch on capital a little bit. Joe and I have been working really hard on a very robust capital plan that stretches out 10 to 15 years. It's like a geeky thing that I enjoy, is how we're going to pay for things in the future and how far can we stretch it out, and then create a good savings plan for that. So then when we get to 2032, we have the money ready to buy these things that we know we're going to need then. So it takes us out of crisis and puts us into a very proactive position. And that's what I really would like to see the new city of Du Bois be living in, is a really strong proactive position. Right?
You say so.
I just wanted to remind you that we're all here trying to solve the same problems, and we want to create a beautiful society that considers the health and safety of the community and its citizens. This is really legacy work, and it's so missional, and it's a really good way to take care of people, and it's an exciting thing to be part of. So I commend the board for tackling this at this moment in time. I wanted to just mention to you that we're still working on projected bank balances for the end of the year, so we know what we're going into the new city with, and that's going to be critical as we work on these budget numbers, so that we know what we're starting with, and then building in margin for capital needs. And because I like quotes, government is what we do together that we can't do alone. We have to do it together. And so I just wanted to remind you guys that as you're making decisions over the next couple weeks, that we make them together for the betterment of one another. And so with that, this is your part. We want to hear from you on your directives and what you care about as far as your priorities, and then what capital needs are really important to you, and where we go from here in our next steps to create. Yeah.
So I'll circle back to the sinking funds that you mentioned. With the budget, was I correct? I wrote down about 500,000 a year would go into a sinking fund?
That would be for water.
Just water?
Yep.
So out of the general fund, what is the amount?
There's no surplus in the general fund at this moment in time.
So knowing that we are in a community that I don't want to say is stagnant, but I'm going to say that we're not seeing much growth here, and knowing that I paid my taxes today and I don't want to see them go up even more, But if we want to expand in this city or bring people to this community, should we be looking at also, I'm gonna say it, raising our taxes a little more in the essence to put something into a capital fund to save for a rainy day, that if we have a, just say Ryan Homes that wants to come in and build a development off of 80 and we can entice them with something, that we have the money, that we're not going out and taking another loan. So I just want to say the thought, should we think, because it isn't 30% that our taxes are going up, but should we raise it a little bit more to save a little bit more? Whereas a business owner, you know, I may do something extra to save a little bit more. Should we be doing that here for down the road for a future project? And I'm all about also cutting services, and if I gotta get to the nitty and gritty, I'll do it. But I think for the future city, if we want to be the best there is, I think we need to look at a way to pay for it, that we're not putting ourselves in a hole even more. If we're really only saving a $500,000 a year, that's not really a whole lot, in my opinion.
What does John Whale bring in real estate?
Oh goodness, I had that number at the top.
We can't do anything with the income tax. We're already at the max on it.
Correct. One thing you could do there is do a referendum ASAP to go home rule, and then you can play with those. But you're right, otherwise you cannot. I believe 1 mil brings in,
Take a referendum, that's
yeah.
voters, right?
Yes.
It'd be a lot.
I can give you an exact, I can give you down to the dollar if you give me just a second. Anyone else have a question that,
Yeah, I mean, home rule would be at least 2 years away, correct?
This time.
Year?
I mean, it depends, you could move,
Yeah, you have to move it all next
yeah,
6 months.
pretty quick, you'd have to do a, set up the study commission to create it. So, 1 mil, using the 2026 numbers from the assessment office, would generate $338,964.43. That assumes the 94.5.
368.
Yeah, so, I mean, it would be, here, I can do the math real quick. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, basically it's 350K. Mm-hmm.
So that would raise both, that would be Du Bois and Sandy.
That is the combined total assessed value of the both communities, because,
If we raise taxes, like Jan said, if we raise taxes, extra mil.
yeah, if you raise taxes another mil, so right now in this model, we had it set at 11.75, which is what the current city is at. At minimum, you can either drop the tax from that, or you can raise the Sandy community up, right? They have to equal. If you were then going to go further than that, yes, it would be, yes, right.
So that brings in more revenue, a lot more revenue.
I mean, 1 mil is about 350,000 more. Yeah. So that will be a hard decision on your part as to how high you'd be willing to go. At minimum, right now, the budget's not balanced, so something has to get cut. This is the preliminary budget. This is the one where we're saying, here's the realistic revenues and the realistic expenses. That's what the preliminary budget is. They don't equal, so
So we have to decide whether we're going to go up or whether we want to go down.
yeah, it's either raise taxes or cut services, exactly,
Or both.
or both.
Is there a minimum amount of money that you can raise? Is there a law that city can have in there?
There is a minimum?
No, maximum.
Oh yeah, there is a maximum, but you're nowhere near it.
We're not there yet, are we?
No, the maximum I think for a third-class city is 30 of the general, and you're at 10.3 in the general.
That maximum amount of money.
Oh, in 1 year.
No, not
Oh, in your reserve account?
in reserve account.
Well,
Before someone files a lawsuit against you.
you're not supposed to just stash away money for no reason. But you can stash it away for reasons. Believe me, you have plenty of legitimate things you could spend money on. So, I mean, honestly, one of the biggest deltas in this is going to be the fact that Sandy Township fire departments are going to be covered by the new city. Like, that is another one of your major differences, is the total, like, the community is paying more for those fire services, because I think you've all made this decision that that I agree with, which is we don't want our volunteer firefighters having to go out there and do chicken dinners or whatever. We're going to take on the responsibility of paying for everything. So that is one of the, that's one of them, yeah. Another is, I mean, wages going up, healthcare going up, pension obligations, just plain old inflation. I mean,
And if we wanted to give them the benefit of the reduced millage for being a fireman, that would make, we'd have to find a way to replace that.
yes, I'm sorry, I haven't picked. Yeah, he's talking about the property tax, just for everyone's benefit, the firefighter property tax incentive, which I don't remember where we left that. The fire commission will have to think about it.
Tabled it until we got through the more important.
Okay, yeah.
It's not a pressing.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I have not thought about that since, since that meeting a month ago. Lisa, did I miss any other big differences?
In the past, it doesn't look like the community put the pension obligations and the health care and the insurances. We try to spread out across departments what happens in a department, so we have real costs. So it looks like in the past, pension was lumped in one sum, so we separated that across the departments, which is one of the reasons why the police department, their pension obligation is pretty high. And then healthcare, same thing. We put healthcare throughout the departments, throughout the funds. And so it just is different than what you're used to seeing. So wanted to just make a note about that.
Okay, ready?
Do you guys have more questions, thoughts, comments? The board? Okay, I know one of the real purposes of having that meeting on the 29th is so that I can hear from you and make changes to these, the slides and the spreadsheets, so that we can get closer to an advertised budget. And so I also would like to offer, just like, it would have to be public, but we could just do a work session at Sandy Township next week sometime, so we could be a little bit more intimate in the spreadsheets. I could show you what we've done, how we're allocating things, and so if you're interested in that, I'm offering it up. You would need to be thinking about that tonight so we could get it advertised appropriately. So whatever you want to do to understand these numbers and get to the bottom, at the bottom in the black, I am happy to do that with you. So please just say the word.
Can the public see that presentation?
The budget that we're going to see.
Yeah, so I think,
The public can see that?
yeah,
The
I mean,
individual line items.
we could,
We
I
could.
mean, it could be right to note, and we would have to turn that over, but,
It's not near ready.
yeah,
It
right.
would be very arbitrary, so.
Okay, so we'll wait until the budget and make it.
Yeah, I would like to have a meeting next week.
Yeah, okay.
Is your question, though, that can the public come to that workshop? And the answer is yes.
Yes.
They can't answer questions.
But they can't say anything, exactly. Can't interrupt.
They could-
But they can listen.
They could send us questions. that-
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah,
We can ask them.
yeah.
They give us ideas what might be on their mind.
Yes.
Yeah. Any more questions? for tonight? Okay. Thank you.
Want to try to finish out the agenda right here? Just have public comment, board comments, and adjournment. Okay, I guess we'll reseat.
For public comments, Melissa Kane.
Interesting that we just talked all about money. Actually, there are questions. I know this is a public comment section, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to be here on the 29th. So if anyone has the answer to my questions, I'd appreciate an answer. I had said the neighborhood fund. I had talked to some people, or people are talking to me about how we do have a community that's struggling a lot, financially, particularly with some, families, single moms with, children, that kind of thing. And they had posed a question to me is there anything that the city council can do? Is there anything like that? And for some reason, the neighborhood fund came to my head. I remember you mentioning something about a neighborhood fund, but I could not remember exactly what it was for. I thought it was for the youth. Is that still in existence? What is it for? And is there any money in it?
There is some money in it. Last I saw it, there was, I don't want to quote it. It's been a couple months since I've seen it. Yeah, it was really meant for if somebody, like maybe a Boy Scout or a Girl Scout had a project or something like that, and needed a little push, or if it was really meant for the city, for improving the city, not have to have it out of the general fund.
Okay. So basically like sending a kid to camp or helping like an Eagle Scout do their project, or I'm not really getting a good definition from you.
There really wasn't one.
So,
I kind of started it with money that I put in.
so is there money?
We've used some of it for trees, very little of it for that.
So as with many things, it is up for interpretation.
It is. It's like the Rotary is going to have that. The city could donate some money to that.
Right.
From the neighborhood fund. And that's really what it's for.
Okay, so.
It was designed to improve the city.
Okay. The city structure, not necessarily for programs for community members.
That's kind of what it was started as.
Okay.
I mean, that's,
Still a little bit of interpretation.
It could still be,
Okay.
Really just
So right now you say it is in existence and there is some money in
There's
it.
not a ton of money in there. There's just like maybe $5,000 in there.
Okay, all right, thank you. The other question is, several people have asked me, because there is going to be a massive amount of work, and obviously there are several people who are running for council, and several people who are voters have asked me about the responsibility of the council members and our attendance at meetings. And I do know that, just about any way now you can FaceTime, you can call in, kind of thing. I didn't know if there was a requirement by a third-class city that a council member needs to attend in person.
And I don't think you have to show up at all.
Yeah, I don't know, because I know commissioners don't, so I didn't know if that was a
You could sit home
rule,
and do nothing.
a rule.
But
So
nobody has done that.
So if I'm elected, my job's easy.
Yeah,
Okay, so like I said, several different people have asked me that question, and I know, a lot of council members can't come because of health reasons, or, things happen, of jobs and that kind of thing, so, since it was asked to me by several people, I thought I would pose the question. So, thank you for the
I
answers.
don't think I've missed one.
No, I don't think you have either, but And, lots of times people can watch online as far as, being in attendance. So, but there are extenuating circumstances, I know, sometimes.
But the fact is, you don't have to.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know if they're like, oh, you have to be at 3, you can't miss 2. Yeah, I didn't know if that was the actual rule. So, and that's what people kept asking me, is like, oh, do you have to? So, so thank you for your answers. It's only 2 questions I had, so, thanks.
Thank you, Melissa. Dave Lombardo?
Yeah, Dave Lombardo, Treasure Lake. First off, I want to thank Ben. Thanks for the email and the heads up. I was the concerned citizen that was pushing to see if the new city council could, because the budget had to be done by law, could look at it and say, we don't like this. And I'm glad for the answer. I think new council should be. And I would hope that, because the law, all you folks working on it, not all the incumbents are running, so you're all going to be developing, so I hope you listen carefully to other folks in that, so it doesn't end up that the new council people coming in potentially could say, we don't like this budget, and move on. But thanks, Ben. I appreciate getting the attorneys to move on that. The other thing was, you were talking about the inflation versus cuts and all this other stuff. My calculation was a little higher than $30 for just the Sandy taxes and stuff, but we'll wait and see how it works out. One thing I'd like you to look at while you're doing the budget, Sandy seems to be able to carry a surplus, at least you did this year. I don't know what you did. Originally, it was like 650,000. If I read the sheets correctly, I think it's down to 300,000. Did I read that correctly, Bill? So it did drop from the mid-year one. Okay, well, that's good. At least I understood that one. So if you did, and the millage stayed the same, and we had all this inflation, I would hope you would look at, what did Sandy do to make that goal, and take it and can use it for the whole consolidated city? I don't know. Did last fiscal year you have a surplus?
Yeah.
So you've been doing that long. So, I mean, to me, not to take away from Ben's presentation, is there's a learning process here that we need to look at and see what's working and why you can do that in Sandy and maybe not do it as well in the Du Bois City, and then bring it together and see how that works. So I would think that would help quite a bit. Now, a while back when we were showing the budget, I thought the city had to had to get $1 million. They did the timber sale for $500,000, but they took money from.
We don't do timber sales. Timber sales are scheduled.
Well, I thought you did an additional.
It doesn't have anything to do with ordering a timber sale or anything. The people that manage our timber tell us when to cut.
Well, I thought you had up there that when you had the deficit, you took half of it from, it was either sewer or water, and moved it over, and then you took a $500,000 sale and pushed it up, or whatever you did to get that. So my question is though, did you, and then I didn't understand what you were asking here about the sewer and water and stuff. Did you take that money out to cover costs for FY25 from the sewage?
No, we didn't do any of that this year.
So when you did that presentation, did I misunderstand your presentation? When you were doing the presentation, you showed $500,000. I believe it was either water or sewer that you took. You were going to utilize $500,000.
Lisa gave that
Yeah.
presentation.
Mr. Lombardo, yes, we did show that in the presentation, but we've been really working hard on cost containment to make sure that we don't have to do that and making sure that the general fund dollars are not in need of that. So we are watching our cash really closely all the time.
Okay, so you didn't take it out of the
We
fund to
didn't.
move it over to do the covering? Okay, because
We
my
did not do
concern
that.
was, do you have to pay it back?
Yeah,
In
we
the
did
next
not
fiscal
do that.
budget? So that was showing on there. So basically, the city's going to come out zero, or hopefully zero, no
Still
deficit.
October. We still have people to pay. I mean, I'm not saying that we aren't in a cash crunch, because we are. So, but that is not how we're going to solve it. So if we can help that.
Okay,
Is
and
that
then when you
fair?
do your budget with the sewer and water, because everybody in the new city will not be using sewer and water, and you brought that up, is there overhead coming, that the sewer and water fees are covering out of the city people, like the manager, the city manager, there would be other people, the bookkeeper, everybody else? I don't know if they call Scott up on maintenance and say, oh my God, this line broke, can you run out there right away? So are they paying for that from those funds into the general? And are you going to look at that in the budget to make sure sewer and water is taking care of those costs, because there's a big block of people not on the sewer and water system?
The
Just-
sewer and water will have cost allocation for the manager, the fiscal department, public works, some public works. We have some people that are assigned to
Yes.
sewer and water because of their licenses and the work that they do and we have allocated them 100% to those utilities. And some of the other positions are spread out across the fund, including the manager, as you suggested, yes.
So you're going to be doing that with FY
Every fund is
'26?
paying their share based on some time allocations that Scott and I looked at really closely for every single staff member to see where we felt like their time was spent most. And so like the finance department, the finance administrator, her time is spent across all the funds because she's paying bills, bringing in revenue, looking at analysis, and doing all the fiscal work across all the funds. So therefore, we've spread that position out across the funds.
So in a
we
given
have-
day, do they have like charge numbers that they're given for sewer and water, that like the,
They all have their own general ledger account numbers. General fund starts with 01, water starts with 06, sewer starts with 08.
so if I'm in finance and payroll and I'm doing all the water people, I charge my time then to the water
Yes.
account?
yes.
And then
Yes.
you're reimbursing from sewer and water?
What I would suggest is when we have this public meeting next week where we're going to show more of the spreadsheets and those allocations, I would suggest you try to attend because then you would then we could explain that a little bit more with the numbers.
I thought we couldn't talk and ask questions, so I thank you. When's that proposed public meeting?
We're going to have to figure out what date it'll be because we have to advertise it, and so Corby will have to tell me how soon we can have it.
Okay. I appreciate it. Maybe we can have a comment period at the end to ask the questions.
For sure.
All right, thanks.
24 hours, so today you could have any day.
Any day?
You advertise it first thing in the morning.
Okay, all right.
Before we do board member comments, is there board members interested in having a work session next week? Pardon?
Yes.
I guess I didn't hear at my end. What, do we have a date so we can get this advertised?
What, how many days do we need to advertise that?
One.
Special meeting is 24-hour notice, so as long as we get it in the paper on Saturday.
Can we have it next Wednesday?
Does that work for you, Lisa?
Next Wednesday,
What's more convenient for the?
6
public?
o'clock.
I'd say 6 or 7.
6 o'clock?
Yeah, 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
Wednesday's good.
At Sandy Township in the
No.
conference room.
I don't If you have a lot of attendance, there will not be room.
We actually could have it, can't have it at City Hall.
You can have a City Hall park and it'll be.
All right.
But you'll have access to council chambers.
Okay. We can do that.
Meeting there.
Okay. I'd like to tell you, you all know that I like to keep my meetings to an hour, but that will not be the case at that one. So bring your dinner.
So this meeting will be a week from tonight, 6 PM at the city building.
Yep, it'll just be a work session.
Okay.
And if anyone
Be able
has,
to do this kind of stuff at the city building.
and if anyone, since the public can't ask questions, if you feel free to email me if you'd like if you have a question that I can ask.
Same here.
We will give them an opportunity for public comment at the very end where they can, say what they want to
Okay, so
say.
they
But
will
it's
have a
really the board that makes the decision, so,
Are we going to allow the public to call in? When they call in to our, boy, that'd be a lot of call-ins.
No, that'd be hard.
Say no.
No.
Did I say no?
Definitely not required.
Board member comments. Sten, would you like to go first?
No comment, thank you.
Elliot?
Just thank everyone on staff, Ben and Lisa, for the hard work to put together some great presentations with some very informative numbers to help guide us in the process. I can't imagine all the work that everyone on the city and Sandy staff has put into getting us to consolidation. It's just a huge lift, so thank you all. We appreciate it and look forward to a big final push to start of the new year and the start of the new city.
Hi, just very briefly, Jessica Tully from the Solicitor's Office. I just wanted to bring up, yesterday, I attended with Mr. Lawhead, who had filed some zoning citations specific to skill games. We did prosecute 3 of those, specifically at 333 West Long Avenue, and the magistrate did find in our favor and fined for $500 for each of those violations. Additionally, there were 8 other citations that were filed for zoning issues, and the magistrate did find in our favor on all 11. So if you have any questions about that, you can certainly ask, but it was specifically that there was a skill game parlor that was operating without a permit, so we did get that. We did file a citation for that, and the magistrate did find in our favor on those. And we will continue to be filing violations for that.
Every day. Every day.
Bill?
Yeah, so just essentially, we will just, if there continues to be violations, we will continue to file citations. Thanks.
Zach, am I hearing you can file those daily?
Yes.
Okay. Scott, anything want to add?
Me too.
Okay. Bill?
Just a couple things. I just want to stress to our community, please come out, ask questions. Next week, following week, we got to get this, tightened up and see where we're going to be, because this is a big decision for all of us to make for this community, especially now. I mean, this is the beginning of a new era, and I don't want to see it crash and burn right at the get-go. So please tell your families, friends, everybody, get out here, look at this stuff, what we're going to have online, correct, Lisa? We're going to have some of this online here down the road.
Files, yes.
Yeah, please take a look. If you have questions, get a hold of your elected officials, get a hold of the managers. That's why we're all here. That's why you guys elected us. So, I mean, it's a big decision we're going to have to make moving forward. So I got that.
Barry?
I'd just like to thank Ben and Lisa for the exorbitant amount of time and energy they spent producing this type of presentation. I know from working with budgets in my departments in the past, I had headaches. I just can't imagine the headaches and stress that Ben and Lisa have been going through the last couple of months. So I truly thank you very much. And now it seems like the ball's going to land in our court, and we have to decide what's best for our big city. Thank you.
Sam?
Yeah, all I want to stress is that it's a work in progress, and we'll keep working. We'll listen to everyone and just see what the best ideas are going forward.
Sounds good. Pat?
Yeah, I'm just looking at the budget. I know Sam and I and Jen have been on the finance committee from the beginning. Barry's been to a couple of meetings, and we're looking at it real tight. Do our best.
Okay, thank you to Ben and Lisa.
I'm still here, Mark.
I didn't forget about you, Dick, honestly. We still have, who else is on besides Ben?
I just want to say awesome presentation, Ben and Lisa, and, I commend you and your team members for all the hard work that you put into this. It's really put things in perspective on, what we need to look at, and will greatly help with the decisions that we need to make moving forward. And appreciate all your hard work and dedication. Thank you very much.
Dick, are you still with us? Okay, motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second?
Aye.
We're adjourned.